Hello, everyone! Welcome back to another exciting episode of TRI Crypto Countdown, TRI Top 100 Crypto Review. TRI, I haven't got a clue what the name of the show is, but we have a hell of a lot of fun talking crypto. Yay! I think we're up and running. Last week we had a real hard time getting the show going, so let's see what we got here. Are we working the show going? So let's see what we got here. Yay! Awesome. Hey, and there's Adam. Adam, I didn't realize that Adam actually had a buddy that he referred to this site. The two of them are in the day trading room just having fun, making fun of me all day. Anyway, two of them, great to see Adam on the site and also his buddy. Was it Ed? I think it is Ed. I can't remember. I might have gotten, I don't know, for some reason I want to say Ed. But anyway, nice to see you over there, Adam. Adam's always the very first person over on YouTube and in the call, so... Anyway, I wanted to give him a shout out. If you ever want to book an Airbnb in Portugal, Adam's the guy to talk to. So, anyway. All right, welcome back to our show, Everything Crypto. We have a lot of fun chatting about different names. I've got two great co-hosts that are just killing it. Paul just says good morning there. Over there on the YouTube page. So, Paul, you want to say good morning to these fine people? Maybe hop on the microphone. Hello, sir. Are you here?
Yeah, good morning.
There he is. Good morning. What's the weather like in downtown Romania?
It's raining.
Raining.
At this hour. Yep.
I suppose rain's better than snow. Do you get much snow where you live?
Yeah.
Well,
In 1 or 2 weeks from now on, will definitely be a lot of snow.
all right. There you go. Actually, it's quite remarkable how many Romanians we do have around TRI. The gentleman who writes up all our daily brief summaries, Zbanji, Rares, I think is. Mind you, it's interesting the way you guys pronounce his name. I don't think you pronounce it Rares, but anyway. And of course Eddie. Eddie's a character. Have you gotten to know Eddie on the site? God, he's funny as hell. Anyway, another great Romanian. So those are two guys that jump out at me. But anyway, so Paul's here with bells on, saying good morning. Is it even light out yet, or is it still dark?
Still dark.
Jesus.
It's 4 a.m. in my time zone.
Well, if anything, thank you for your tenacity and your stick-to-itiveness. And showing up and trying to help our community and the good people on social media 7 days a week. It's great to see you kicking butt in the market. And I look forward to an awesome report from you this evening. And we've got Ben coming in from the great state of Georgia? No, Florida, right? Would that be an insult to say you're from Georgia?
Nah, it's all good.
All right. I suppose. Anyway, so how are you, sir?
I'm wonderful. Thank you very much.
Awesome. You guys gotten over all the hurricanes and all that kind of stuff? So things settling down there? I think I saw news of another hurricane coming through your way.
Yeah, we had another one come through. I think it was last week. Yeah. But not as intense as the last one.
All right, and I suppose everybody's all happy about the elections and all that being over. Hopefully, now everybody can get back to work, something like that.
Right.
But I suppose even is it Mr. Trump? Is he in Florida a lot? Do you see him a lot on sort of local media? Or do you watch any local media? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't watch a lot of local media, but he does have a place just down the road. So
is that fairly close to where you are? That Mar-a-Lago?
It's a couple of hours, but yeah, Mar-a-Lago is down there.
All right. Well, anyway,
it's his home away from home.
So I have to say I was doing public speeches and your chart sure makes it easy to describe the current market condition, where we are in the cycle, and sort of expectations going forward. So hats off again. Excellent chart. This chart makes describing the whole crypto experience quite easy. this is the chart I think I've been using to try and help people understand the current crypto cycle. And, we got happening events on a fairly regular basis that sort of dictate how the cycle evolves. And it is fascinating. I spent a lot of time in the daily brief yesterday, sort of talking about where we are in the relative cycle. I mean, the irony of it all is that when we are up here, and actually, I even have a better chart. Let's see if I can find that chart. It's almost impossible to get you guys not to buy. It drives you crazy. And, even grown adults that you would think that they actually know what the hell they're doing in the marketplace, they don't even know what they're doing. Michael Saylors and stuff like that end up just pissing away hundreds of millions of dollars, just insane amounts of money. So when we're up in this part of the cycle, it's almost impossible for me to get you guys not to buy. Then if we have a healthy pullback, if this is still a bull, then this is a good area. Collins pump chaser zone 38.2 to 50%. So, Novogratz himself, he came out publicly and stated how he thought this was probably a place that if this thing was still a bull, it would pivot. Of course, we lost those levels. Then we start heading down into, we are officially correcting, bearish A, B, C, Ds. And unfortunately, in this kind of part of the market, this is when the disasters start happening, right? So this was like the Luna disaster, and then Celsius disaster, and now the latest disaster du jour has got to be FTX disaster. And now we're finally actually in the bottom sort of quartile, where it's literally the polar opposite condition as it was up here. Ironically enough, it would actually be next to impossible, half to impossible, I don't know what term you want to use, to actually get the public to go out and buy Bitcoins now. Timing-wise, we're probably still a little bit early. But sentiment-wise, oh boy, it's not pretty out there at all. And unfortunately, and this sort of comes back to this original document that I had on here, this is the part of the cycle where I can't stop you guys from buying, and you all think you're going to get stinking rich and just buy, technical analysis doesn't matter, blah, blah, blah. Then as the price moves its way down, then that euphoria gets sucked out of the market. And unfortunately, now we're in this stage, and I was spending a lot of time, and I think it's important that, people in the public space, this is a show that the public gets to see, understands this too. This unfortunately is the, as frivolous and as exciting and as Lambo talk filled the top was, well, this part of the cycle is the exact opposite. And I did have to spend a lot of time today. In fact, I even got comments from other site members, actually several, about how this is very much an environment where people will actually seriously consider taking their own lives. If you see this sort of signs of it, for heaven's sakes, well, I mean, unfortunately, I actually, well, I don't know whether you know or not know, but I have intimate experience, unfortunately, with people in my life who have taken their own lives. So all I'll say is, to a certain degree, it's almost inevitable. But if you do see the signs, maybe reach out and just ask if the person would like to talk, and if there's anything you can do to sort of, you can't obviously reverse the situation, but sometimes just people having a person to talk to and just be able to express how they feel verbally and just get it out, that can sometimes help quite a bit. But this is definitely the part of the cycle, especially the next, probably 4 to 6 months, that we're going to be hearing those kind of stories. So be forewarned, And even, I can't comment on you individually, but if you even see those kind of signs in yourself, just the only thing I ask that you do is just stop for a moment and just consider the damage that it will do to all of the people that love you in your universe. I don't think my wife, she was mentally ill, so I don't think those kind of thoughts ever occurred to her. But I can tell you absolutely that those kind of things, they just completely destroy other people's lives. I don't know whether that really helps or not, but that's just coming from personal experience. It's an ugly conversation, but it's one that at least needs to be acknowledged. Maybe even, I might even, for people on the site, I don't think, the good part about TRI is we're so religious about the 2 rules of investing. Number 1, work with some sort of algorithm, something that sort of, it's like an if then else. So your decisions are based on logical premises, not based on human emotion or, following in somebody else's footpath blindly. And then secondly, of course, never, ever, 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 ever risk more than 5% of your stake on any one single idea. And now hopefully you all, those people who are watching, those people hopefully who are learning, can see even in these sort of bulletproof, I'm just staking and I'm just collecting yield. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm throwing all my money in because I'm a professional quarterback in the NFL and I'm bulletproof. Not! So don't ever risk more than 5% of your money on any one single investment. Now, actually, it's interesting when you talk to traders, guys that are in the market every day, they even scoff at that 5% rule. And I can absolutely guarantee you if we let Paul turn his microphone on, he will probably argue that number with me. But
1%, 0.5%.
There he is.
So maximum is 1% at this point.
Right. So, and of course, are we in hard mode? Are we in easy mode? We'll let Paul tell us about that in a bit.
Still hard mode at this point.
I think I should just probably turn my microphone off and let him go because it sounds like he's ready to rock this. Which is great. I mean, that's perfect. That's awesome. Hats off to you, dude. Just for the record, and some people kind of don't quite understand the 5% rule. And what you have to understand is, there are many different market participants, everything from day traders to swing traders to investors. And interestingly enough, for an investor, if you have less than 5% of your money in any one single idea, and you are fully invested, then technically, if you have more than 20 ideas in your portfolio, it's almost impossible to outperform the major indexes. So, ironically enough, from that perspective, it doesn't really make sense to have a whole bunch of little 1% risk positions because it's almost impossible to outperform the index. You actually get to the point where you technically are the stock index. So for a lot of Joe Sixpack kind of clients that, hey, I'm busy, I'm an accountant, I'm a lawyer, I'm a doctor, whatever. Having more than about 10 positions and say risking 50% of your investment on any one of those positions, number one, it's a little too hard to keep track of everything. And number two, it almost becomes statistically impossible to outperform. So there is a logic to that 5% rule, but from a day trader's perspective, especially somebody who's like trading on leverage or anything like that, it's better to risk a fraction of that 5% and For the day traders, if they want to go 1%, even 0.5%, I don't have a problem with that. Smaller bets are better. You just never, ever, 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 ever allowed to break that 5% rule. So anyway, so as I said, when I peruse through the TRI lounge, and I think it's a huge selling feature of TRI, there really isn't that conversation. It doesn't exist. And actually, we had the smatterings of that kind of attitude. Then the Luna story came along, and quickly everybody's like, you know what? Yep, better clean things up. Don't break that 5% rule. So anyway, here we are today. This is the back end of the cycle. This is the hard part, ironically enough, of running one of these websites. In fact, I would imagine most of the social influencers, like I saw a guy today and I couldn't believe it, like 250,000 followers. And he said in his tweet, what's happened with FTX makes me re-examine my entire experience in crypto, or makes me re-examine the whole crypto experience. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I mean, obvious. If FTX is your first experience with disaster, you have not been in the crypto space for very long. Every single cycle there, and you can see on the screen, we've had like 3 solid cycles now. There was an initial cycle over here. But even here had some disasters. I mean, ask Sjord about MintPal. Poor guy. Hell, even Gox. When did Gox happen? Right in here. So I guess this is the point being that what you're seeing in FTX, what you saw out of Luna, what you saw out of Celsius, we've been down this road before. And the irony of it all is it seems to be these centralized Achilles heels. Where is the vulnerability in this space? It's all around these centralized exchanges. So if you are interested in crypto and you want to keep it as easy as possible, just go buy your crypto, throw it on a ledger, go and bury the ledger out in the backyard, and you're good to go. And really, frankly speaking, you could do that to almost any USB device. But anyway, I think it's important for you, the viewers of this video, and I think you all know this, that there's nothing new going on here. This is so typical crypto. And unfortunately, also too, which is really sad, is it's very typical of the venture capital space. This is the way venture capital works. It is boom and bust. I worked in the venture capital part of the Canadian stock market for many years, trading and brokering here on the Vancouver Stock Exchange. So I'm very intimate and I'm very comfortable with this boom bust mentality. But unfortunately, I don't think a lot of people that get involved in crypto are. And they just don't understand how venture capital works. And just for the record, if you're watching this, there's nothing new going on here. This is so typically, I hate to use the word, but it actually is very cliche. In fact, there's a great image. I don't know whether I can find it or not. That even when I used to work in the venture cap part of the stock market, I was a broker through the .com boom, all that kind of stuff. We used to pass around this image all the time. And ironically enough, when I first came to crypto, it was like the one image that was passed around. It's like, oh yeah, okay, so business as usual. This is sort of the line chart, right? Unfortunately, big bull. The trap, the despair, the return to the mean. I mean, that's this. If you've never seen this image before, by heaven's sakes, just copy it, take a screenshot of it. It's very normal. There's also another one that's passed around that's very handy. That's used to describe these cycles really well. Let's see if it just happens to be here. This is the image. has different colorings and different little inserts from the one that I'm thinking about. But just the point is that this is very, very normal. In fact, actually, I saw, people like to freak people out in crypto. So they'll do things like they'll lay this chart over, say, I think even Peter Brandt did it recently, lay this chart over the 29 stock market, the stock market from Japan in 1989, the gold and silver market from 1980, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But the irony of it all is that crypto does this whole cycle, there it is, from beginning to end, like literally once every 4 years. It's remarkable how consistent this is. So there is that image that I'm talking about. And here is those Bitcoin cycles. It's the same thing. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. I mean, there's nothing new going on here at all. So, I just wanted to start off. Number one, just understand the context of where we are. This is the absolute hardest part of this whole bull bear cycle. This right now is the hardest part. In fact, I remember there's one guy I think over on YouTube where he came learned TA from Brian, I think probably in this cycle, and banged his head against the wall, banged his head against the wall, banged his head against the wall, then finally got to the point where he's like, okay, I only got 10 G's left, this is it. But he just kept at it, kept at it, kept at it, kept at it. We get through the bear cycle, and the rest is history. Now he lives, I think, a very comfortable life because he was able to ride out this cycle and get into this cycle, or the next one. So this cycle is back here. He was able to ride out this, and he survived. And then the next bull cycle came. He was in from the bottom on a lot of these, shalt coins, we'll say. And when they went crazy, magic internet money, all that kind of fun stuff, he was paid handsomely. And then right up at the top of the market, from what I understand, he goes, that's it, I'm getting out, I'm done, I'm going to have a kid, I'm going to go buy a house, I'm going to get this cute little wife, and we're going to live a happy life, happily ever after. And my only comment was, rock on, dude. You own this market. Way to go. And you know who I'm talking about if you're hearing me. All right, so there's sort of the bigger picture. Now, unfortunately, us as informed market participants, we have to be very, what's the word I'm looking for? Delicate? We have to be very empathetic. I actually told the people on the site today that I don't make my money running this website through these bull runs. I mean, yes, our account balances go up. Yes, all of you come piling in to learn how to trade at the top of the market. Yes, you're all chomping at the bit to buy our subscriptions. So this is when we get paid, but I don't earn my money for doing this job through the bulls. I earn my money doing this job now and literally for about the next 6 months, where my job is to just try and help you keep your head level, keep yourself sane. If you don't know appropriate risk management, you don't know appropriate portfolio management, you don't know the tools about how to manage yourself and try and work through bad streaks. Hell, I'm going through a losing streak with my day trading right now. But follow all the principles that we teach. You just slowly work through it. You journal through it. You log through it. Try and identify your mistakes. Try and best practices, and you just get through the dry streak. It's just the way trading the world, life of a trader goes. So the point here is that this is where I earn my keep. This is where I actually go. Okay. I earn my stripes, if you will. So please understand, this is this part of the market cycle. This is the tough part. Paul's going to go have a smoke, and as soon as he comes back, actually, why don't we go get yourself all jazzed, get some fresh air, and then we'll jump into Paul's report. Did we say hi to you, Ben? I think we said hi, didn't we? I seem to remember we talked a little bit about Florida and weather.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, weather's good.
I couldn't remember whether I introduced you tonight, so sorry about that.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it.
And I'll tell you, folks, whenever I go out and talk in the public, having images like Ben's here, it sure makes it a lot easier. Because, there are a lot of people that are in crypto that are just purely math oriented. And so an image like this with the math on it, it makes it a really easy sell. But again, same sort of thing. We're, ironically enough, we're not in the part of the market where you're all feeling bulletproof. We're actually in the part of the market where you're all feeling extremely sensitive and maybe even a little vulnerable. And of course, these bombs just being dropped right, left, and center all over this crypto space, it certainly doesn't help people who don't know how to sort of manage risk. So I will say it's in this, this kind of study, we're now, as I said, we're in the, I'd probably say we're in this sort of 8th inning. If you understand baseball, they call it the 7th inning stretch. I think the 7th inning stretch was this fall, and we were just waiting for that final shoe to drop to take us down into that bottom quartile I was showing you. And you can see that's happening now. So we're now finally in about the 8th or 9th inning of this correction, which all of you should go, number one, if you haven't blown yourself up, then you should give yourself a pat on the back. Because keep in mind, most of the people that came in up here, they're gone. And ironically enough, actually, the people that are listening and will listen to this video through the week, you're some of the people that actually are survivors, and congratulations. Hats off to you. In fact, actually, anyway. So we're in the 8th or 9th inning now of this correction. It's getting a bit old. We're into that window actually now where prices should start bottoming, and you can see we're not that far away from things like the POC. And the POC, the point of control, this is actually where everybody, especially all through this past cycle, this is where everybody's long. It might take you quite a while over your life to learn this, but ironically enough, when we go through these big honkin' bull runs here, you'll actually find that not a hell of a lot of people actually do a lot of buying up here. The only people who buy up here are like retail that really, they don't know what they're doing, which shocked me about how guys like that Sailor guy was talking about loading up here, and how, Musk was all active about Bitcoin and his funny dog money and stuff up here. I mean, that's really amateur, to be honest with you. Quite surprising. And, I don't think you hear too much out of that Sailor guy anymore. And dog money guy, now he's all wrapped up in Twitter. So I think Bitcoin itself is the farthest thing from his mind. Probably there's a play on Doge. If anything, this is a good shout out to Paul. I think in a recent video, or it might have been like on a weekend show or something, we had mentioned that Doge, ironically enough, through that whole sort of Tesla, Musk, Twitter sort of handover transition, whatever the hell you want to call it, the winner out of that whole experience, and it wasn't a huge win, but hey, a win is a win is a win. The winner out of this whole experience was Doge. I mean, Twitter is not a tradable stock, and Tesla looks like a train wreck right now. Doge is actually the only one that came out of it. And the cool part about it was, we even talked about, hey, did you see Doge pop up? When we were sort of up here, and Paul just unequivocally said, yeah, but I can't touch it here. And you can see, oh, look at that. We've worked our way right back down to reload zones. What a surprise. I don't even know that we even have a W yet here working. And I don't really see any new sort of volume pouring in on the buy side. So, I'm skeptical as to whether with this thing, that might have been the trade, right? Buy at about 6 or so. Let half of it go at 12, 13, 14. Get yourself some free coins. And then just let this damn thing settle down. And it might just have to do something like this again. And knowing Musk, it wouldn't surprise me if it does look something like this, where you get sort of like a, are you going to W out? No, I'm going to turn into a new M. F you, down we go. Oh, there's the W down in there. And then a rally away from it, back into the level where these people here originally thought maybe there was a bottom, and back down we go. And then, wide base. Are we going to W? There's the W that finally came in, and kaboom! So I almost look at this and I go, there's a big dump and sort of a sideways consolidation. There's a big dump, sideways consolidation. We would actually have to see these lows hold and a W come in here before I can actually say, you know what, this thing actually looks like it's turning back up. So, as I said there a moment ago, hats off to Paul. A week or two ago, when we did mention this, he's like, man, I can't touch it until it comes back down. And that was the right thing. It's a good call. So, I hope we all understand sort of big picture where we are in this correction cycle. Finally, we're actually getting down into the bottom. I would also say, too, and you guys have probably heard me, and of course anybody who's watching who's a TRI member, you guys heard me go on at length about this today. But I think you can make the argument that we're finally getting, keep in mind, commodities, the way commodities actually find value, it's what does it actually cost to produce the commodity? And in something like Bitcoin, right, it is the cost to mine Bitcoins. And this is a script that one of our site members, Shane, put together a while ago. And we actually have a new equipment data point, the S19XP. And Shane figured that their cost to produce a Bitcoin right now is sitting at about $9,000. So here's a really good analogy that we're finally getting down into things like cost of production levels. And that's a good sign. It finally means that we're actually getting back down into value. And the odd thing about this is, of course, like the all of these POS coins, and especially people that are quote unquote staking, and they have unlimited supply and you get paid a gazillion bazillion dollars, and if the price of the coin stays up, well, you get this fantastic yield. Oh, what a surprise. Price of these assets is not staying up. And unfortunately, this whole yield farming thing, I think, is a trap. I think people get lulled into believing, hey, I'm going to get this awesome yield on my money and I'm going to be able to retire on Easy Street. And I've always said, if something seems too good to be true, it probably is. So especially when Luna was coming out and boasting about how they give you like 15-20% annualized rate of return on your money if you buy their US dollar equivalent stablecoin, and then Mr. Kwan was being stunningly arrogant in the face of the US regulators. It was just a potion for disaster. Of course, hindsight's always 20/20, so take it for whatever it's worth. But something like Bitcoin, I don't think Bitcoin gives a rat's ass. And it's fascinating how part of the Ponzi of that whole FTX, and I don't even know, what does the coin look like? Does it have a coin now? Is it FTT? I think that's what it is, right? FTT. Yeah, there it is. Oh, look at that. It's versus BUSD. I wonder, is it versus Tether? I don't see it versus. I know. Yeah, people in this space really love looking at these assets versus Tether. Did actually hear some people talking negatively about Tether today, so that might come back into the fore now that they've destroyed all of these stable coins. Okay, FTT USDT perp. Boom. Ouch. So there's probably a really good example where you're like, oh yeah, I'm collecting coins at APY, all that, really awesome. And then all of a sudden, just out of nowhere, the whole fucking thing just collapses. There was a gentleman who used to do this show with us, Nick. And I don't know. I guess maybe he kind of got the writing on the walls. I don't know whether SOL is is also part of this. I remember we used to talk about this Solana. And actually, I seem to remember, I think it was like last spring even. Nick was just like, you know what? I'm not really that good he said not that good. He just said, look, this is hard mode. This is not a runaway bull. It's not just going straight up, easy money. This is really difficult. I'll come back when we come back into easy mode. And frankly speaking, that wasn't such a bad decision on his part, to be honest with you. I think it's important to understand that we are into this last sort of part of the correction cycle. This is where it gets toughest. Ironically enough, Bitcoin now is, in my opinion, actually coming into value. Now is actually when the time you should be accumulating at or below reload zones. You know how much Brian loves his 78.6 fibs. And here is our cost of production numbers. I suppose if you're looking for sort of the tell that, all right, price can't really go down any further, there's one thing and one thing only that I'll be looking for here that will tell me that, we just can't go any lower. And that will be talk of 51% attacks. But what I do find fascinating is through this all this, the DeFi, I don't even know if you call it SOL DeFi or not, but the FTX, the FTT token, all that, everybody, and even the narrative, and I think it was encouraged that POWs were garbage and they were environmentally unfriendly. Frankly, I don't think the environment gives a rat's ass about any of this stuff, but that's just my opinion. I don't know whether you know, but if you actually were in a spaceship and you drove up to the planet Earth like 300 million years ago, the planet Earth was pink. And it would be impossible for a human being to live on the planet Earth because the air was all sulfuric acid, or I can't remember what the acid is. But anyway, point being that the Earth is just a planet. It just does its thing. And if we humans wipe ourselves out of the planet, I don't think a planet gives a rat's ass. It just keeps being a planet. It's of course a great motivator to get the public to endorse things like alternative energy and with brand new growth industries. And, Mark Carney, I think the guy's name is, he would like Klaus and his World Economic Forum to finance $100 trillion in financing for this quote-unquote green revolution nonsense. So if you want to know what their motivation is, it's that $100 trillion number. It's no accident that he mentioned that. And of course, at like 5-10% interest, $5-10 trillion, I think he'd be more than happy to put that in his pocket. And that's all the motivation he needs to get you all freaked out about the environment. But anyway, that's another conversation for another day. The point that I would make is that I find it interesting that now we are basically down into zones where, if you actually did like this story and you wanted to invest, they've got the public all hating POW. And really, I might argue, how do you actually define value in the crypto blockchain space? Well, it's work done. POW, proof of work, actually validating the ledger. So, Bitcoin wouldn't exist if there wasn't a demand for this, if we didn't live in a world where we can't trust ledgers that are created by central banks, where they just indiscriminately change the ledger at their leisure, add another zero onto the end of the ledger. And so the market itself is validated the necessity for a Bitcoin. And lo and behold, here we are back down where you should be considering investing. And I think the public has the exact opposite message being rammed down their throat that, Sam Bankman-Fried is the face of crypto. He is not the face of crypto. He is the face of, actually, ironically enough, the legacy system, the centralized system. Bitcoin doesn't give a rat's ass about Sam Bankman-Fried. If anything, Bitcoin laughs at all the people who got suckered in by him. But anyway, that's here nor there. It's just fascinating how Sam Bankman-Fried has, all the politicians now freaked out. All the professional football players who thought they were so smart, them freaked out. And yet now is actually the time when you should be seriously doing your research and if you want to invest, actually getting serious about this. Doesn't that seem a bit ironic? And every cycle, it's always the same. At the bottom of this cycle, most of the pundits in the market were actually saying that, no, don't buy Bitcoin. Bitcoin's going lower when we were at or below reload zones. Well, that's not a good idea. Anyway. Okay, blah, blah, blah. For the record, I have shorts on Bitcoin. I do find it interesting on the micro Bitcoin futures. I've got bearish bots working. And I've got a few of these bearish bots working. So there's this big one from 21 down to 15-ish. That takes us all the way down to that 11.4 area. So I do like trend continuation down into that area. And then we also had this smaller one that just fired from about 18 down to 15. Rally peak to 17, takes us down to 14. So that's the one that I'm in right now. And what I do find interesting about both of these bearish bots, boom, 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 and then boom, 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 is that actually their entry level is almost identical, which is fascinating. If I look at it on the spot market, this is your Bitcoin. There's basically the same bot, boom, 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 boom. And there is the entry right there, 16,731. And you can see the market is just sort of oscillating. It's like dancing around the bot entry level. So as you can see, we were kind of thinking through the day, probably get a counter trend rally back up into reload zones. This is probably a great commentary for Paul to pick apart. I suppose the only thing that gives me pause about being short here is if we look at the daily charts, kind of like what you saw, we're getting awfully sort of long in the tooth on the bear side. Am I trying to squeeze out the last drop of blood from a rock here? You can't get blood from a stone kind of thing. Maybe. I do like that move down into the 10,000-11,000 area. But I will say that, a lot of research that we've been doing on the site suggests that risk assets, not necessarily Bitcoin, but risk assets, where's the best place to show you this? Risk assets themselves look like they want to try and rally into the end of the year. Oh, geez. Oh, I hate when the damn site does that. Where can I show you that without having to... Maybe I can't show you it. I don't know what it is. It's a funny... let's see. Is this going to load? Come on, baby. No. Why the hell is it like that? I have no idea. I noticed that my browser does that. It kind of screws up. Let's see if I can load it up over here. Nope. I guess the site's totally down. I don't know whether Sjord's done that or somebody has decided they don't want us on the air. But the site's down right at the moment. Boo. Hiss, hiss, boo. Anyway, what I wanted to show you was our blog. Which I don't know whether I have. I might even... Oh, actually, look at that. I might even... No, I don't. Oh, that sucks. Anyway, our blog post showed the decennial report from Larry Williams. Was looking for a rally into the end of the year. And the political... actually, I might have it over here. The political landscape... also is suggesting rally into the end of the year. And I guess one thing that I find really interesting is that we've built this tool, this internal breadth indicator, and it's working very, very well. This is the broader market. This was from back in the end of September. you can see that the country funds both went extremely oversold on both the short and medium term, and the S&P 500 stocks also went heavily oversold in the short and medium term. Dow stocks basically did the same thing, and you can see there is a nice little W in our Dow breadth indicator. And then lo and behold, you go over to the market itself and you look at price and you see this is where this arrow is actually that date right there where you have that engulfing bar. Even a conservative approach to this, cup and handle, really nice long signal. So, that's the image that got me bullish of the stock market. So why am I saying this? Well, if we go and look at the crypto market, lo and behold, look at what we have here. Hello. That's kind of interesting. To be honest with you, I did not expect to see that today. As I said, I've got like bearish bot setups, etc. working. I got the impression that we were just humming along to the downside. And then to add insult to injury, and I think I tweeted this out earlier today, I was so impressed with this, is this is the Dow signal. If it gets oversold, and the breadth indicator starts turning back up, well, you see what that happens. Well, lo and behold, look at what happened with the, do I not have it here? Well, that's funny. I could have sworn I did. Oh, well, I can show you right here, hopefully. There is the breadth indicator. It turned back up. And if we look at the histogram, lo and behold, last day here, we've got, this thing is acting kind of funny tonight, eh? That's too bad. Anyway, we had, the last time I updated this, it showed, there we are, right in there. So you can see the breadth indicator went heavily oversold on the short term, minus 92, and minus 78 on the medium term on the crypto. So not only did we have the indicator itself completely washed out and flashing a bullish cross, but the histogram was also completely washed out, just like I showed you in the stock market and the way the Dow turned when all of these were all heavily oversold in the stock market. So that's the one thing that has me on pause right now, is that, gee whiz, that looks like it's trying to turn back up. I find that fascinating. I would love to show you stuff on this site. I'm only afraid that if I click on this, it's not going to load. Anyway, this is on the website. You can come up here and click on the individual sectors and pull up the individual stocks, and there is the crypto top 30. If we click on, it's in here somewhere. Big long list of stuff to follow. Anyway, crypto, there's the crypto universe. But anyway, you can search through and scroll through all of these at any given point in time. I just wanted to show you that crypto top 30 before. There we are, crypto top 30 right there. And if you click on that, that's what this pulls up. There is that image. The market is turning back up. Teal is pointing down, so technically that should actually be like a weak buy signal. And if anything, that kind of makes sense, right? A weak buy signal, like I said, I had Bitcoin shorts working, and you notice that the price is just sort of floundering here, right? It's not really moving up egregiously. It's not moving down. Now I'm almost back in the money. Just, in fact, the futures market gapped higher, and now it looks like it's rolling back over. But in essence, weak buy signal, market starts to slowly turn back up. We'll know that this thing's rocking and rolling if we can get back above, say, 17,000, because then we'll have a big honking W and away we go. And my hunch is that probably comes in if we see the teal turn back up and we get another W coming out of the red fast moving average. Yeah, I think I'll probably leave it at that for now. by all means, pop on the site. You can hear tons and tons of analysis of the market from Brian. But we don't get Paul that often. So if anything, Paul, are you still here? Are you back from your smoke?
Yep.
All right. So why don't we sit back and listen to a little bit of what Paul sees? He has a really cool little newsletter report that he puts out on a regular basis, and maybe that can help you see the market a little clearer as well. I'd be curious to see whether he's hunting any longs now down at the bottom end of the range. So I will stop screen sharing. I don't know what I'm actually recording. I think I'm actually recording this screen. So let's I'll stop presenting, and if you feel like loading up your screen, we'll get that going. We'll come over to OBS, and let's this one, and we will switch over screens. There we go. All right. Maybe you could hit the F11 button. I'm not sure. I think it's F11 anyway. Let's see what happens when I do that. Nope. I always load up that code window. All right. Let's see how long that takes to fix itself. Let's try that button. There we go. Nice full screen. All right. I'll put myself on mute. You have the floor, sir. Tell these good people what you're seeing in the market now.
So, like usual, nothing new on my part. On this week, we had 7 trades, but really, like usual, nice and profitable. I decided this week I will not post the wins and loss and the total profit. I'm just keeping this this report hidden this week. So we have the long-awaited decline in the bear market, and the last part of the bear market. In my opinion, I'm thinking the last part of the bear market, it's starting from with the last news from last week with the FTT and all the other news. I'm thinking the market is in the last part of going down. If we'll get another dump, will be I don't know, let's say the bottom in this bear market. From now on, I'm really interested in using little old lady or DCA, dollar cost averaging, and for the next bull market. I'm really looking in all the altcoins. I'm working with Binance, so I'll search altcoins on Binance to see what I could accumulate from this moment. For me, it's okay to start dollar cost averaging or using little old lady to get free coins. We lost support on weekly chart, as you can see. We lost the support to 2017 all-time highs. So I'm thinking we can go at least to test 12,400, something like that, the next one. Between 12 and 14K, it's a good level to think the market will go. I don't see on weekly chart, I don't see any support at this level. So I'm thinking we'll go a bit lower in time. I don't know if we'll go this week or next next year, but I don't see any support at this level. So I'm thinking we can go lower. But like I said in this newsletter, I don't like to try to predict what market will do. So I prefer to trade market level by level. At this point, we are at 16K, so I'll go on lower time frames and try to frame the market and see what happens. On daily chart, same idea. We have this trend line. Everyone was expecting to, even I was expecting a bounce, a nice W and to go up. But as you can see, we had a bearish divergence, some indication last week about the market was not happy. You can see higher highs, but if you take a look at indicators, you see bearish divergence in RSI, MACD, even on OBV. when I see a bearish divergence in OBV, especially when I saw this EM confirming an OBV, was a sign to just sit out and wait. My bullish enthusiasm was gone when I saw this EM and OBV. I don't recommend anyone to try to catch falling knives, especially on altcoins. I don't see any point to go and try to get the bottom. If we'll find the bottom, usually that bottom is not a V bottom, will be retested. So it's okay to wait a bit more. Even on Bitcoin, I don't, with the 2020 low, with that COVID low, was a V bottom, but even that one was retested on, if you take a look at 4-hour chart. So I wait the market to go down and to get a bounce, and then I'll try to hunt at reload zone. So I don't see any point to try to catch a falling knife at this point. On 4-hour chart, what I just saw a bounce and a nice comeback in the reload zone. So nothing special. This level is valid even now. We are at the same level now, just in the reload zone in this area. Indicators, I don't see anything special on this one. I see some potential bullish divergence at this point, but nothing for sure. So let's wait for a clear W in the reload zone. Let's wait for a breakout and a retest, and then yeah, I could hunt along. Bitcoin dominance, I like to see it on 4-day chart. Bitcoin dominance is at the same place. Nice bounce from the bottom of the range. You can see AB equals CD, bottom of the range, nice bounce, a retest of this level, 42, and now we are back at in the reload zone and the bottom of this big range. I'm thinking in the next 2-3 weeks, Bitcoin dominance could get some dominance back, but it's just a guess. I need a clear W to think about Bitcoin getting some dominance back. Ethereum versus Bitcoin, same 4-day chart. You can see we have this range, we have a lot of short reload zones and a lot of confluence to think short on this level, but I don't see on lower time frames. Now we have something on 4-hour chart, but nothing more. I could think this in confluence with this chart, I could think the Ethereum could lose some dominance against Bitcoin. But I have some only on 1 hour, maybe 4-hour chart. I have an EM, but nothing more than that. But idea is Ethereum is at the top of the range against Bitcoin. Let's see what happens in the next. I'm still expecting a retest of this level, 0.06 of this initial W. That's just my opinion. The market needs to do a bank off check of this level. We'll see. Total 2, all crypto without Bitcoin. As you can see, we are losing the support. If we don't hold this support, all-time highs from 2017 will go below. We can go even 50% lower than this level. We don't know yet. So let's wait and see what happens at this level. If this level will hold, yeah, nice. We'll get a nice bounce in altcoins. If not, we can go lower, a lot lower. The news from this week, not too much. So we have today in my time zone, housing starts, building permits, and Friday existing home sales, the most important one, but not so important, not too much news this week. Like I said, on altcoins, it's, in my opinion, it's okay to wait for clear signs of reversal. Wait for a 3-step setup. So this is, in my experience, this is the best setup you can use, even on higher time frames. So wait for a location. We have that. We have a reload zone or below reload zone. We need clear indicator confirmation. So we need some W's or bullish divergence, and we need a clear W in price. On 4-hour, 1-day chart for investors or not for day traders, yeah, you can wait for a daily W. It's best to wait for a daily W, wait for the breakout to happen, and just work your order at the retest. Yeah, for investors, it's okay to continue or start dollar cost averaging or some kind of little old lady plan. Little old lady, it's a risk management strategy, it's not a plan by himself. So you have to put a plan around the little old lady, using little old lady strategy. Some idea for altcoins, we have chilies on 4-hour chart. And I said Sunday, I said maybe a bot or maybe a 3-step setup if we manage to reach the reload zone. Let's take a look now and see what we have. As you can see, let's take a look at this one. You can see the chart. We are at this level. I was hoping for a bot at this level, and I said if we will get a bot or go back and reload zone for a 3-step setup. Seems like we managed to get a nice bot on 1-hour time frame. So you see 1 low, 2 lows. You can consider the third low. Nice consolidation at the 25 level, and now we are above 50. We even touched 66, so it's okay to trail this trade. It's a nice 3-to-1 risk to reward in a bot, so I guess it's okay. A lot of people from the Crypto Traders Arena group took this trade. I posted for everyone. I don't know if I posted on TRI, but I guess so. I don't remember exactly. The next idea was turn cash on 4-hour chart, but on this one, I'm waiting for 88.6. You can see the W level. You can see the next W. You can see where the market was going back up. We had a nice pump and dump, let's say. So for me to get interested in trying to put a trade, a long trade on this one, I need 88.6. You can see candle body lows for trade location. And I still have, if I put this level and I get this level, I still have 1 low, 2 lows, 3 lows to protect my stop loss. So I'm thinking it's okay to hunt on this one. We didn't reach this level yet, so my order is still in the market. I'm still waiting to get a feel on this one. And surprisingly, now I love Dodge. I know Brian asked me about Dodge when we are close to the top, and I said, no way I'll buy something like that. But now I'm really interested about Dodge, because my thinking is, if Elon Musk puts another tweet about Dodge, I don't know if he'll do that, but any news about Twitter and Elon Musk could pump Dodge. So if I get a feel at this level at 88.6, yeah, for me it's profitable to get a 3-to-1 and to risk to the recent lows. So I'm thinking it's okay to hunt. I don't know if exactly in reload zone, if I'll get a clear W with bullish divergence, with a nice breakout and a retest, yeah, I could buy it even higher. But now my order is at 0.068, something like that. And I'm thinking, if I'll get this level, it's a nice trade. Trading condition are still hard. For me, we are still in the hard mode. So my maximum risk per trade is 1%. Brian said earlier about 5% rule. I personally, in this environment, I don't even risk 4% on total portfolio on trading. So if I have 3 long trades, I will stop. I don't want to risk more than 3% because the crypto market is correlated. So if I have 3 long trades with 1%, I'll have actually 3% risk on my trading portfolio. But if I have, let's say, 3 long trades and 1 short, yeah, it's okay to add. But idea is not more than 2 or 3% on open position on my trading portfolio. I don't want to lose more than 2 or 3% in a day. So I'll keep my total risk per portfolio limited at, I don't know, 3%. If I see something really nice, maybe I'll put 4%, but at 4%, I'm not so comfortable to keep in the same time open. 4% risk is too much for me, at least in this market condition. When we'll get to the bull market, yeah, I'll go easy on 4% on total portfolio, but not now. So like always, don't forget, treat trading like a business, and market will treat you like a king. But to be treated like a king, you need to treat trading like a business. So business means plan, risk management, and setups, and adapt your plan at the market condition. If you see the market condition, they are hard, risk less. I sometimes, when I see the market, I don't have a clear setup, I don't have something exactly from my plan, I'll put a trade if I have a setup, let's say an LJ or a bot, but I'll risk only 0.5%. With a bot, with 0.5%, I'll make, if I'll get a winning trade, I'll make 1.5%. If will be only one trade or winning trade a day, I'll make 1.5% a day. Damn nice. Or if I have two, one loss and one win, I'm still profitable. This is my thinking now. Just risk less. Don't be greedy. Like I like to say, don't be a greedy goblin. I have a person who I'll tell him really often that don't be a greedy goblin. So don't try to. And another thing you can do is just to aggressively move your stop loss at scratch. If you have you have 1-to-1, at least in my plan, if I have 1-to-1 risk to reward, I have 1-to-1 profit, I'll move my stop to scratch, because you can see the market, it's violently flat in the last couple of days. Now on, let's say on 4-hour chart, what I see now, I see a range. I posted that on Twitter. Now I see just a range. I don't see anything special. So we have the low, we have the high, the bounce, and now we're just bouncing in this area. Yeah, if I'll get in the short reload zone, I'll hunt for a short. If I'll get in the below reload zone, because you can see now, yeah, I'll try to hunt along maybe if I get but I need a clear setup on lower time frames. And when I see the market is on hard mode, I don't enter at the breakout. Almost all the setups I have, they use W's or M's, but I don't enter at the breakout. I'm waiting the breakout to happen, and I'll place my limit order at the retest. That I managed to get a bigger win rate on my trade. When the market will give me a clear signal, a clear direction, yeah, I could enter at the breakout, because if I wait for the retest, I could miss the trade. But at this point, I'm okay with waiting for the retest. On altcoins, I don't see anything special. Even let's take a couple of ideas on 4-hour chart. Let's see, Litecoin. I don't see anything special. Give me a clear W with bullish divergence, and I'll start hunting. But you can see same range like in Bitcoin. And if Bitcoin will drop now, you know, usually in crypto markets, the initial drop on Bitcoin, the altcoins will hold the level. But if you get a second drop in Bitcoin, altcoins usually get destroyed in the second dump. So maybe it's better to wait for a clear setup. I have the 4-hour chart, but it's best to wait for a daily W. You see Solana, same idea. AVAX, same thing. We have this one. I said we are hunting for 88.6. We didn't get that level yet, but the order is in the market. E-gold at the lows. I don't see anything special. Doge, same idea, just consolidating, just a range at this point. The market is just waiting to get in some direction. I don't know if it will be up or down. I'm a trader. I don't have to guess where the market will go. I have a clear plan. I have a clear risk management, and I have especially clear setups. If I'll get a clear setup, all the conditions from my setup, yeah, I'll just enter in the market. If not, it's best to sit on the sidelines in cash. Just protect your capital and wait for better opportunities. This is just my way of seeing the market. Like I said, I like the fact that we are in a range. We'll play this range until we'll be proven wrong. This range at some point in time will break to the upside or to the downside. Until then, I'll play the range game. On Bitcoin, and same idea on Ethereum. On Ethereum, I'm trying to frame a long bot, but I didn't have the third low. Now we have some, but this is the second low, so I still need to wait a little bit to hunt along. That's it from my part. Nothing special, just protect your capital and wait for a better trading condition if you don't have enough experience. Now is the best time to learn trading. For a day trader, for a swing trader, doesn't matter if the market is at all-time highs or the all-time lows. You can find a nice setup. You can make some profit, but you have to become a good trader, a consistently profitable trader, to be able to do that. An investor, yeah, will make money, but now an investor is just starting to accumulate. An investor doesn't make money now. You'll make money in the next bull market. But for a trader, doesn't matter. You can go long, you can go short. That's it from my part. So
sounds good. I didn't want to interrupt you.
Yeah, I know.
Awesome.
I'll keep going.
Are you are you refraining from showing us your win losses because the profits are just so obscene you don't want to appear to be boasting?
It's above average, but I said a lot of people last week lost their entire accounts on FTX, so I don't think it's okay me to brag about my winnings. So
all right, well, that's good karma. That's probably a good idea. All right. Thank you very much for that summary. I think that was spot on. Don't have anything that I would have concerns with other than the fact that you don't want to join me on the short side here on the market, eh?
No, I see a range.
Yeah. Oh well, only time will tell. And if anything, that's I love that because that's basically what makes a horse race.
Yeah.
And one Russian today in our day trading room say, Brian, I'd love to join you on your short, but we're at down the bottom end of the market, and I don't really want to short down here.
Yeah, and I saw that breadth indicator in the morning. So I
then
said,
that breadth indicator, I looked at that and went, oh, Jesus H. Christ.
and I see even if the long line, the long medium term line is pointing down, I see a W on the short term. So
Yeah.
no.
Well,
When I see a
for the
W,
record,
I don't like to go short.
Yeah. Well, and this is a weird thing I find about my setups is that I just find that when they fire, I'm best just to follow the setup. If I believe in it and it works, a desired amount of time, then it's really not in my best interest to second guess the whole thing. But I wouldn't be surprised if shorts start to run out of steam here. Some of the long crypto proxies that we've had on things like Sushi and Uni and Matic and stuff, they're actually holding in here. Nobody's really breaking down in earnest. So
Yeah,
I guess
but
it
if
makes
Bitcoin
sense.
will drop down, they'll be destroyed. Altcoins usually get destroyed on the second dump.
Yeah. Well, and actually, that's probably a good note. Somebody make reference to that, and we'll track that going forward. All right. All right. So let's see. What do we want to do here? We've got about 40 minutes left. Ben, did you have anything you'd like to share with us this week? Share with the audience? Did we lose Ben?
I guess there's a lot of different rabbit holes I could take you down, but
Well,
with
did
everything
you
that's
have
going
any
on.
experience with any of that FTX?
I was very fortunate in that I didn't have anything on there. But I think just in light of it, I know you mentioned Tether earlier.
Yeah, I started to hear about Tetherfoot again. What's your
Yeah.
take on all that?
Well, I was listening to interview with Mr. Wonderful,
Oh,
Kevin
no,
O'Leary.
is that guy got an opinion? That scares me.
Well, I just found it very interesting. I've sent you a link here, and he said he wouldn't want to invest again unless this bill goes through.
The Stablecoin Transparency Act. Oh my goodness.
And so,
Well, I
so
hate to say it, but that's actually not a bad idea. But I guess the question here is, whoops, I'm getting the impression from what you're saying, you don't have a lot of faith that Tether actually has the cash to back itself up, eh?
well, I'm just wondering, yeah, if something like this kind of did become part of the conversation a bit more,
Where are you? Are you
that
screen
that
sharing right now, or we're still looking at Paul?
no,
All right,
I
so
think
I'm gonna
I
hijack
think Paul
the
is.
screen here, Paul, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I'll close the presentation.
All right.
And Greg Del Moody just also mentioned that I mean, Mr. Wonderful also said he would invest in SBF again.
Mr. Wonderful. You know what I thought was interesting was I shared that interview on Hedge Eye. I don't know whether you ever listen to those guys. They're pretty smart. And wow, did they ever tear into that guy? They're just I've always known that you're talking about that O'Leary guy?
Kevin O'Leary, yeah.
That guy. The irony of it all, and it's kind of like Trump. You know, before Trump's TV show, Trump really wasn't that successful of a businessman. I mean, he sure knew how to fucking do the New York real estate game. But on balance, you know, like, you ever heard of Trump University and stuff like that? I mean, it's almost laughable. But,
Yeah, I'm sure he's going to trump everything. I hadn't heard of that one before.
you know, you haven't heard of Trump University? You know, like
I heard of Trump
Melania.
Steaks.
They did an NFT for Melania, and it was like the Pursuit of Excellence NFT. just nonsense. But
Yeah.
if anything, that's Trump's really good at the schmaltz game.
A great promoter.
Yeah. So that Mr. O'Leary guy, and I don't understand why people think he's a really good businessman, but he literally ran about 3 or 4 different businesses right into the ground before he got fortunate and hooked up with that Dragon's Den crew. And it's cool listening to the Hedge Eye guys. If you don't believe me, listen to the Hedge Eye guys. Those guys are awesome. And actually, I think they're also Canadian too. So, you know, you're allowed to pick apart Mr. Wonderful if you are Canadian. But do yourself a favor if you have a chance. And where is the Hedge Eye guys? These guys. And wow, this guy, what's his name? Mark Cohotes? That guy's sharp as a tack. And he actually thinks that this guy is actually the real crook behind all this. So do you know this guy, Dan Friedberg? You ever heard of him?
Only from different things that people are saying about his history.
Yeah, he's the real cheeky bastard behind all of this. Anyway, so these guys, I like listening to these guys. They just tear into O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful nonsense. But that's where is that guy? That's this guy. And so, sorry to interrupt. You trigger me when you start talking about this clown.
Yeah.
But, what I cut you off there. What was the big thing that you were saying about him?
Well, I mean, I just see him as quite a public figure, and to be going on, the big broadcast and saying, yeah, we need to get stablecoins to be more transparent and to have some legislation around that, bringing that into the public light a lot more. I think we might see a bit more of that conversation, especially with there being a bill now introduced. When was
Yeah.
that? In March
Well,
of this year, it was sponsored. So
where was
who
that?
knows if it's going to get any more traction and what that could mean for the the digital
The
stablecoins that
interesting
are out there.
the interesting thing about all that is you wonder who's actually driving the push for this. If it's the Democrats, and you said that this was a bill from a year or so ago, so it's probably the Democrats.
Yeah, I think
I don't know whether do they call it bipartisan, or was it what's the socialist there down in the States? What's her name? Cortez or something like that. Anyway, the question I would have, of course, is that the U.S. House of Representatives is going to flip here, right? So, do you find, and actually, maybe let's check in. Let's see how we're going here. Oh, look at that! They actually have 218. Dun, dun, dun. It's official. So, there you go. So, with the Republicans flipping the House, does something like this actually just get put on the back burner? Might be interesting to see how this plays out. And I'd also might argue that I wouldn't be surprised if the Tether guys actually are pretty heavy political donators to the Republicans. So you might find that if this gets pushed off into the new year, it just dies. So that's kind of interesting.
yeah. I mean, I think it does look like there's Bill Haggerty is one of the sponsors, the Republican, and
Yeah.
Trey Hollingsworth, they're Republican.
All right.
But yeah,
I guess,
yeah,
but on
interesting.
balance, you've heard me say before, right? A little bit of regulation actually isn't such a terrible idea. And,
Sure.
I know, all crypto enthusiasts are like, oh, that's acid to my ears. But believe it or not, I've been in this space long enough, and I don't know have you ever seen my Twitter homepage? This is the picture that I have in my Twitter feed, and I hate to say it, but I actually think that this is the face of crypto. Even though you don't really want to admit it, I really do think it is. And if you don't know this story, this is the irony of it all. Like I said earlier, some guy comes on and says, "Well, given the light of the FTX development, my whole opinion of crypto has changed." And I was like, well, what kind of opinion do you have, Mr. Expert? How long have you been in this space? I mean, in my humble opinion, I don't know whether I'm an expert or not, but this guy is more crypto than anything else. So, in a weird sort of way, a little bit of regulation might actually clean this space up a bit. But anyway, did you guys read or hear the stories from Chico about the guy who actually wasn't there some guy who died or something like that recently that was tied up with all
Yeah,
that Tether stuff?
that's I could be putting a target on your head.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not allowed to talk about that kind of stuff, eh? Yeah, Jesus.
I mean, it's I mean, the guy did wash up dead, right? and he, yeah,
Touchy conversation.
yeah.
I mean, the good part
Definitely
about
worth checking out.
yeah, I mean, the good part about what we do at TRI is because we have these rules about being absolutely religious about not getting too heavy into anyone's story. Brian will never become a lunatic. It will just never happen. I mean, the irony of it all is I made great money on the back of that Luna guy. I bought it like 5 or 6, sold in the 30s, sold some more in the 60s, and just missed my fills up in the 120s for my next huge lot I was going to get off. I did fantastic, but at no given time was I ever going to buy into the whole sort of lunatic, we all members of this cult kind of thing. I just don't do that shit. And I try to make sure that TRI doesn't. Although I was a little negligent with the boys. They went pretty hard in on that stuff. But anyway, that's what it is. It's not money that I was managing, so I'm not responsible. Anyway. Okay, so point of the matter here is we're probably going to have a bit of regulation coming down the pike, and if it's about stablecoins, frankly speaking, I really wouldn't mind this. You know, the question ultimately here, I think, is who wins the prize of being the next stable coin? And I think something like the U.S. Federal Reserve and stuff like that, I mean, this is always a politically dangerous statement as well. Is there any particular investment advisory firm that happens to have a very inside seat at most U.S. Treasury Department official appointments? If you need to answer that, then if you need help in answering that, then you don't understand where I'm going with all this. But the Goldman Sachs stablecoin, I think that's USDC, isn't it? I think they're probably in the front running to be sort of the deemed stable coin. Did hear through the past few days, other sites, various sites, I think Kraken, for example, came out and said, "Hey, you know what? If you want to audit our statements, we're not leveraging our asset base like Mr. Sam Bankman-Fried did." But I wouldn't be surprised if the Goldman Sachs coin is it becomes sort of the official deemed U.S. stable coin. That wouldn't surprise me. Anyway, it is what it is.
Yeah, I imagine there's going to be a very hefty fee to maintain the regulation.
Yeah. And the irony of it all is that really, if you're a Bitcoin maxi, you don't even care about any of that nonsense.
Right.
So I mean the irony of Bitcoin is that there are some people that are quote unquote stacking sats. And if they're just trading away, they just want more Bitcoins. Just give me more. I don't want any of your stable coins. Keep all your crappy fiat garbage to yourself. Just give me more Bitcoins. Anyway, anything you want to add to all of this, Paul? Do you hear anything out of your sort of like country of Romania with regard to crypto? Do they even talk about it?
Yeah, like usual. Any news about FTT, they will be in Romanian also.
And what's the sort of general sentiment there? Are they all crooks and they should all be burned at the stake, or maybe they should be impaled over at Vlad's place?
I don't think the people they just lose interest in crypto, and it's a normal thing in the bear market, and at least in the last part of the bear market, they will be back.
Yeah.
Close to the top.
Yeah. So cliche. Eh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Even on the in the group, I see not too much interest in investing in crypto, but it is what it is. People who will manage to get through this bear market and learn and put a plan together.
You were telling me earlier, you are seeing people that are relatively new to trading taking the TRI program, and they are progressing, eh?
Yeah.
So that's good. I mean, the long and short of it here, folks, is if you really do want to learn how to run an effective small business of trading, I don't think there's really a better place to learn the process. I think really that's a great thing that TRI can offer.
Best time to start learning. So if you are not on level 1, go in January and do at least level 1. You'll see with different eyes, you'll see the market differently.
There you
So
go. Heard it from Paul himself.
You'll try to buy at the bottom, not at the top.
I think also too, for whatever it's worth, shameless plug. I think Josh does have planned some Black Friday sales event around the upcoming term. So keep your ears and eyes peeled if you are interested. Josh might have some nice treats for you here coming into the end of the month. So just FYI on that. Okay. I see Great Del Moody's over there chatting up a storm. I think you shared with me Mr. Great's document, the TRI notes this morning. I don't know whether I'm supposed to talk about this or not, but I think this is Mr. Del Moody's. There he is. Great Del Moody is. I think I've told you guys this before. This is his user manual that he's created out of all the videos that we've done. So what a document, eh? Holy moly. Whole damn course probably right there. And actually the interesting thing is, for whatever it's worth, Mr. Great or Mr. Del Moody, there's a lot of stuff in the course material we don't even get around to talk about. On these free broadcasts, like the options. It's so cool listening to our options instructors now, Zach and Josie. They seem to be working together so nicely, like a glove and a hand and a glove. Just the two of them work together. And geez, watching them do spitting circles around the options market is great. And actually, Stuart actually found an option site in crypto. And I looked at it and I was kind of like, I don't know. It seems a bit sketchy. It just didn't feel right. It was called Polysynth. So actually, I wouldn't mind if anybody who is actually watching this video through the week, maybe we got about 500-600 people that watch this. If you've ever used this website, if you've ever used this platform, I'd love to get some feedback from you. I tell you, I wasn't overly impressed. This thing kind of smelled dangerous. They're starting to do all this kind of talk here. Very, very dangerous. I think this is, people were talking about the why did FTX blow up, Luna, Celsius, all this kind of stuff. This whole yield thing was such a trap. Really, really nasty trap. Now, these guys use options, and theoretically they're doing things like covered calls. So if you are familiar with this website, I wouldn't mind hearing some feedback from you. As I said, Stuart actually asked me to look into this. I did sort of a overall Peru, and what it reminded me a lot of was this guy. I don't know whether you guys have ever seen this guy, but Cordier, I think his name was. And he was writing call options in natural gas. Oh, look at that. They don't even have it here. Isn't that interesting? Anyway, I was watching it bankruptcy. I was watching it earlier today. And I had it on here now. And there's the one thing I absolutely hate about these. It's internet. Maybe options, natural gas. It's so hard to find searches that you've done previously. Oh, well, he's gone now. Anyway, if you don't know what I'm talking about, like I said, I think his name is Cortier, something like that. There he is, this guy. So if you're not familiar with options and how dangerous options are, this guy here, he went and blew his firm up and lost a ton of money for people writing natural gas options. So a little bit leery, but somebody asked me to look into it, and of course, we do a bit of options business on the site. So anyway, if you happen to be familiar with that site, I'd love to hear some feedback from you. Actually, Paul just left, but there was one other document that Paul was sharing. Hunting for apartments for Liam. That I wouldn't mind showing you guys, but I don't know what the heck I've done with it now. Anyway, when he gets back, I think he went out for another smoke there. So when he gets back, we'll ask him. Somebody remind me. Okay, so question here is there anything in particular you guys want us to look at over on YouTube? Speak now or forever hold your peace. It's already about 20 to the top of the hour, so we got about 20 minutes left. What's up, Brian? Stone cold mode. Yeah, unfortunately right now, if anything, like you saw, I actually have short setups working right now on crypto. Interesting to see if I get my head handed to me. But where was that one? I think I showed you it before. All right, this one here. Nope, not there. There we are there. Hey, look at that. I'm back in the money. Woohoo, party. So I'm leaning down. But the interesting thing is, Paul was talking about how this is a trading range. And this particular bot, I do find it interesting that if we go down and tag the bottom end of this wedge, you can see it's a clearly defined wedge. And if we tag the bottom of this wedge, then I get to move my stop to scratch. Kind of like what Paul was saying to you at 1-to-1 risk reward. On his setups, he gives himself permission to move his stop to scratch. So that's actually the biggest objective I have, is just get down and tag this trend line again, and then that way I get to move my stop to scratch, and then I don't really care what happens. So we'll see what happens. Got a nice little window here. Looks like we could work our way through this little sort of, what do you call that, a trapezoid? Anyway, it looks like support somewhere down in here. So anyway, we'll see what happens. I did see I was able to get the website back up here. So, along with that image, what I did find fascinating was I did it again. You're kidding me. Frustrating. Hey, there we go. All right, so this came back over here. Now, if we go blog here, is that going to work? There we go. That's what I wanted. All right. So, coming out of the election, this is a really good lesson in how politics affects the market. I think that the market was very uncertain about what the election results are going to be. This would have just implied sort of almost like sell the rumor. And then once the uncertainty's out of the way, buy the news. You can see whether it be a right-wing government or a left-leaning government, new term regardless, the market seems to want to work its way up into the end of the year. I think on balance that's correct. And what I do find fascinating, of course, not to toot our own horns, but Jesus, this was just such an incredible signal. I think I tweeted it out. Let's see if it's over here. The breadth indicator. This is what scares me about the fact that crypto just spat out that buy signal. Was here was the stock market, the breadth indicator spitting out this buy signal, and look at what happened. Holy moly! Now that's the brick and mortar names. Technology, and of course crypto is part of that story, hasn't fared as well. So we might see maybe a little bit of snapback rally coming out of crypto here to play catch up a little bit into the end of the year. But I do think that there should be a bit of a counter trend rally. Oh darn! There it is. If we also look at something called the decennial report, which is just simply what does the average year that ends in 2 look like? And notice this report was done earlier on in the year, but in essence, we're sort of following along. First half of the year was crap. We bottomed sort of middle of the summer. We've been sort of jawboning. We went down and tested the lows in earnest and actually traded a little bit to new lows. But in essence, turned back up following the election. You saw that Dow chart. Markets ratcheted higher. And frankly speaking, I think that this is what the stock market's going to do into the end of the year. Everybody's going to be calling tops, and yet the darn thing just grinds its way higher. And lo and behold, like I said, we go and pull up this crazy crypto, which of course is the most speculative part of the market. And whoa, son of a gun, look out. So my shorts are a little bit scared right now. And if we want to look at something like technology, which would be like the NASDAQ, what do we got here? Not nearly as compelling a story, but it is flipped back on the bull side. So we might see some outperformance out of tech. I don't like the fact that it's so overbought. I guess the weird thing about this image actually is Marat, our level 2 instructor, he was actually sharing information about really massive accumulation of short positions in the NASDAQ. So somebody's actually already stepping up. They took advantage of this counter trend rally and liquidated a lot of their longs. And they actually are starting to strap on quite a big short position. So, I don't know. I mean, maybe tech needs a little bit more time to clean up. That's a tough one. But I will say that this crypto breadth, it's got me, because I have a short position on, I'm sitting here going, well, do I break my plan and just get out at scratch, or do I just let the trade setup do its thing and work away? And I've kind of leaned towards, I'm just going to let the setup do its thing. But I'll tell you, it's given me a bit of a pause there. And so if we do see the crypto market jump up here, don't be surprised. The writing's on the walls. All right. Do we have any requests? Let's see. Anybody up here? So, thank goodness GE got some good trip sitters. Okay, I'm not quite sure I understand that. Yeah, talk about a slow slog, especially for someone who doesn't know how to short. Yeah, shorting market. And Frank, just understand, Garrett, that, you know, I remember I was a retail broker, so I got to see the industry, the stock market, from the other side. And like 90% of the public hates shorting. In fact, actually, when the market's going down and people are making money short, you'll almost always get some politician or something that comes on and goes, shorting, that's un-American. Those people should be outlawed. So you're not alone. Most people don't like shorts. Weekly W and Wyckoff check. I would imagine that's, the weekly W Wyckoff check is actually a setup that we have in the library. It's and I don't know whether this is what you're referring to or not, but we used to like to call it the shark setup. So where is the shark? There it is. So you have your YW base. Now, this one was carved out over like a 2-month window. Big breakout, and then the check of the original market structure bottom sometimes produces just absolute gift trades. So this was a funny shitcoin from back in 17, but very typical trade, and especially in venture capital. So I don't know whether that would actually align with weekly W Wyckoff check. That's basically the same thing. Is he handicapped? I'm not quite sure what that's in reference to. What are your thoughts on the bearish engulfing candle on the yearly Bitcoin chart if it closes the year that way? Well, and actually that's interesting. I've never even really looked at that, but I suppose we could take a boo. What exchange in particular are you looking at? Are you just looking at like the cash market, like Stamp or something? This is Bitcoin versus Tether. Let's see if it shows up on this chart. And when you say bearish engulfing candle on the yearly Bitcoin chart, so I mean, like I'm going to look at like a 12-month chart. This thing obviously doesn't have enough data to work with, so let's go BTC, USD, and Stamperini, and that's the candle you're talking about. 12 months, Bitstamp. The close of this candle here is 46,214.37, and this opened up 46,230. So 214, 230. Okay, so it is a candle engulfing bar. I might even suggest, would you have thought the same thing here? We had a close 1388 and we opened up at exactly the same number. Didn't quite come down and close below that. What do I think? Number one, it's the middle of November, so let's maybe not put the cart before the horse. I don't know how this month or this year is going to end. Probably do end down. Wouldn't surprise me. I'd also say too, candle body highs or trade location. I think 46,000 is going to be a massive brick wall of resistance. Interesting how you can see that you would have made that same postulation here, and we went just blowing through it on this candle here. I think you could make the argument this is very typical of like that 4-year cycle. So that brave new coin, probably that's something we could look at. What the hell is that? I think it's BLX. Yeah, there it is. That gives us a little bit more data to work with. I mean, the irony of all of this is that I firmly believe that Bitcoin basically was created to eat gold's lunch. This particular fear cycle. No inside bar there. So I mean, it is an inside bar, but no harami or anything. Or engulfing bar. So that is unique. That's interesting. I never thought. I haven't seen that before. Would the candlestick people respect that signal? I think so. Also, to remember, and probably this is the key. Where does this finish? This engulfing bar itself, the signal doesn't actually fire until the next candle is printed and we've gone through this low. So just understand that, right? And especially if we have a bit of a counter trend rally into the end of the year, you might have a fairly sizable tail on this candle, and the market maybe just plays all inside of here, but the engulfing bar itself doesn't actually confirm. Yes, this could be a setup, and it's clearly a 3-bar fractal. So if we go through these lows, and I guess this would be in, actually, it's November, right? Oh, this is 12 months. So yeah, this would be at the end of the year and heading into the new year. If that does fire, then I think actually it could mean that we could be in the shitter for a while. The interesting thing is that this growth cycle, and actually this is a really cool image. Check this out. And I put this out today, and Chris put a video about this because I talked about it in the Daily Brief. And somebody comes along on YouTube and goes, "Don't screw it. Don't give us squiggly line theories as to markets and all that kind of stuff." And I've done lots of really screwy, squiggly line theories, but this one's actually pretty clear. So I was a bit surprised that this person actually responded that way, but who knows? Maybe they know that this is actually legit and it's valid, and they just don't want the public to clue into this, because this Saturn-Pluto waxing and waning cycle, this is one of the most accurate timing tools you can use in the stock market. So I found it kind of funny that on the YouTube video, somebody ranted about how they didn't like this squiggly line theory, but I love this theory, and it's so simple. So when Saturn-Pluto goes conjunct, start of a new growth cycle. Conjunct, growth cycle. Conjunct, growth cycle. I mean, look at this. This isn't rocket science. So start a new conjunct, and you can already start to see the little blurb right out of the gate. Notice blurb right out of the gate. Blurb right out of the gate. Blurb right out of the gate. So I feel very comfortable thinking that, you know what, they want to take the stock indexes up. And of course, anybody that understands my Jupiter-Saturn cross and the long-term fear-greed cycles, sort of everything about generations. I thought I had it on here, but it doesn't look like I do. It also is calling for a rally in risk assets into this 2035, which means technically, if you are a commodity asset, a hard asset, then you're actually going to underperform into 2035. And the easiest way for you to understand this, and I'm kind of blabbing here, but I'm trying to answer your question over there. If you look at the gold Dow ratio, this is the way us old legacy old timers used to measure sort of the preference for hard assets versus soft assets. Of course, everybody knew this was coming, and so the powers that be created this thing called Bitcoin to basically steal the thunder away from gold. But the point here is, hopefully you can see the very noticeable sine wave pattern in this relationship between gold and Dow. Dow being paper asset, gold being a hard asset, physical asset. So the point being that the next 15, 20 years are actually supposed to favor paper assets, not hard assets. It's going to be pretty tough for you guys to stomach. You're not going to like that. It's exactly what you guys are not expecting. You're expecting higher commodity prices, a collapse in the US dollar, a collapse in the hegemony system, and I might argue that actually the exact opposite is what's going to happen. But it's interesting from this Bitcoin perspective. If we do put in this bearish engulfing bar, that is bearish, and that means that this thing might just be parked for a while. This is a yearly chart. And, one might argue that the current growth cycle actually started here, and it needs to go on to here, 35. So since we know that, even now, I think I showed you this earlier. Maybe I did. Yeah. We know that even the cutting edge for Bitcoin mining equipment now is about $9,000, $10,000. And we also know that the halving event is once every 4 years. So if we just do some simple math, right, in 4 years, and this is assuming just normal rate of growth, we know that the next halving cycle is 24. So 24 to 28, that'll be the next one. And if we know Bitcoin price now is 10,000, then that means at this point it goes to 20,000. So that's 10,000 here, and of course this halving cycle was there to there, right? 4 bars, there to there. 5,000 to 10,000, okay. 10,000 to 20,000, okay. Let's go out another 4 years. Now 20,000 to 40,000, okay. So we know that this coming growth cycle, that will have a cost of production. Oh, by the way, that happens to be that candle body high level, right? 46,000, but we'll say 40,000 for argument's sake. Actually, right there. So we know that the cost of production, if everything just stays consistent, right? Every time the halving price doubles. We might even find that technology actually makes it less than that, but we'll assume just doubles. Then we know that at this point we're at 40,000. That means next cycle, and by the way, this is when this next cycle is going to start to go apeshit, because this will be the end of the growth cycle right there, and we'll start in on the next fear cycle. And how quickly, and by this logic, that means that this next cost of production will be up here at 80,000. Right there. So you could have Bitcoin just swim in this range for the next 5 to 10 years. No problem. And then by the time cost of production actually takes price to new highs, we go through the greed cycle peak and into the next fear cycle. and prices just launched themselves higher. And if you don't believe that happened, the last greed cycle ended in year 2000, and look how quickly gold turned in 2000. Can you see this? So this is basically that same kind of conversation. And you're saying, well, does it look like on the yearly basis that gold put in a fractal sell signal here? And so as a result, for the next, this is the greed cycle, right? Just to get an idea what happened, right? We can put things like SPY on here, and you see that in the same period, oh, that doesn't go back that far. Just give me a second. DJI. All right, so in the same period, do it on the left. There we go. So you can see in the same period, gold basically did nothing, but look at what the stocks did, right? Stocks were basically there, and by the end of this greed cycle, stocks were there. And then as soon as the fear cycle starts, right, that was 2000 right there, look how gold just basically went one directional, face rip straight up. So could we see that kind of scenario that on the backside of this? Oh, darn. Wherever the hell it was. I guess I'll just back up. On the backside of all of this, right here, we head into the new fear cycle, and the gold market just goes absolute, or Bitcoin price goes absolutely apeshit. But through this whole period, cost of production is sitting all in this area. It's slowly moving up over time. Don't get me wrong. It doubles, it doubles, it doubles, it doubles. But it can stay within this trading range that whole cycle. And that's actually what I think is going to happen. Which kind of, it's probably not going to make too many people too happy. But the irony of it all, right, is if they dip it down here, let's say we hit a low of like 9,000, and then the next bull run, they run it back up to 50 Gs. Well, what is that? That's like a 4 or 5x increase in price. We'll see what happens. Only time will tell. But I wouldn't be surprised. And that's very contrarian, right? Almost nobody in the crypto space would be thinking like that. If anything, it's almost sacrilegious what I just said there, and I should be shot on the spot. So to actually answer your question, the fact that this is a yearly engulfing candle, actually considering, you know, fear asset, greed asset, actually that's not shocking to me. So I don't know. Hope that answers your question. Let's see, who was that? That was Gordon. I don't know. Gordon, what do you think? Was that worth listening to? Definitely gave you some alternative thoughts, and you're all sitting there going, what the fuck did he just say? The Matador Josh team post these to the trading subreddits Golden. Oh, did he? Josh is on Reddit? That's kind of cool. I don't know. Maybe that's something else. Mr. Wonderful said he would invest in SBF again. Of course he would. Mr. Wonderful is, in my opinion, he is a rear view mirror investor. I always hear him talking about yesterday's story. He's always invested in yesterday's story. I never, ever hear about him talking about tomorrow's story. And that's kind of, you know, that's actually what I just sort of did with you guys, is I want to talk about what's going to happen tomorrow. But quite often when I do that, it's very controversial, because usually it's exactly opposite of what's actually happening today, which is kind of ironic. In recent interview in crypto banter, Mr. Wonderful is blinded by politics, I think. Yeah, totally. I mean, really what I would say is that he, like I said, he invests in yesterday. He is really good at the sort of public persona. You know, I'm sure he does have sort of rights of that dragon, what's it called? Dragon's Den or something like that. So as long as that thing's got ratings, and, you know, he's sort of staying in the spotlight, kind of like Trump in a weird sort of way. You know, they always say there's no such thing as negative advertising. So even if people are bad mouthing him, it's still valuable advertising because, here we are talking about him. So, yeah, I can understand what's going on there. But having said that, I don't necessarily think he's a very good investor. Let's put it that way. Okay, yeah. Guy Fawkes has been slacking in bombing the Capitol. Well, there's a statement. All right. All right. Yeah, we better make sure CIA and stuff don't have reasons to come knocking on our doors. We are good citizens. We pay our taxes, right? We buy W's, we sell M's. Great Del Moody says there is a bearish broadening wedge in the low time frame. Okay, I'm not quite sure what asset you're looking at. Gordon says yes. All right. Yeah, Great Del Moody says energy prices are increasing non-linearly though. That may make BTC cost of production grow non-linearly. Yeah, I don't buy that. In fact, I don't mean to be rude, but actually, energy prices are not going up. There's a yearly chart. I mean, we're on the yearly charts. We look at like a weekly chart. I don't think energy prices are going up. I mean, this is the. If anything, this image right here is the banksters' anecdote of what they've done to us here. Here is the George Bush presidency. And it just clearly shows the relative value of $120 a barrel with a relatively low US dollar count, and $120 a barrel with the U.S. Federal Reserve just printing money like a drunken whore. Drunken whores, they run money printers really well. What? So I don't actually buy into the argument that energy prices are high right now. Actually, I think energy prices right now are, ironically enough, the same prices that they were back when George Bush Sr. Was in there invading Iraq to begin with. So energy prices have really basically done nothing. So, and then to add insult to injury, that's crude oil. Everybody wants to move away from crude oil. What's natural gas doing? So natural gas actually was really, really cheap there back in July 2020. So that is the spot price, and there's, of course, Mr. Bush's energy bull market. But what are we going to see a comparison to M2, like the actual money supply? There's your natural gas price. Wow. Holy crap. So are gas prices actually really that high? I don't think they are. So that's the irony of all of this. Yeah, it's kind of disappointing what these banksters have done to us. Quite surprising. And also, too, probably what's even more debilitating for a guy like me is trying to talk to the public about this. Nobody in the public understands this. They just don't understand it at all. And so the banksters, they just chuckle to themselves. Hell, I'll go into the bank and I'll try and explain this to the people that work at the bank, and they are dumb as fence posts. They just don't understand this. So it's tragic what the banksters do to our society. And they've done it for like literally hundreds of years. It's like institutionalized. And there's nothing you can do to stop it. It's quite remarkable. There was last century, there was a U.S. president that put the kibosh on it. Back in the 1820s, he killed the first central bank of the United States. And I think that's one of the reasons why the United States of America became as powerful and as strong economically as it was. Then halfway through the century, the banksters tried to actually get the United States to basically break apart through a civil war. And they funded all the various elements on the fringe that were supporting the Civil War. And that failed. Mr. Lincoln was able to tell them to go fuck themselves. And finally, the central bankers, they got to Woodrow Wilson. And they convinced Woodrow Wilson of this idea of sort of MMT, kind of the same thing that you see. How do you say it? Almost the same thing what you see kind of out of Biden right now. You know what they tried to do with this, what did they call it? Build Back Better bullshit? And it turns out that it was all just a massive money print to justify the inflation of the economy, to keep this bankster business model of loaning money at interest going indefinitely. And I think they pulled it off. So there's not anything any of us can do about it. They won. So we're just all slaves. Probably another, my hunch is this probably goes on for another, probably the next real serious go will be, it's going to be a while. 2080, maybe 2090, somewhere in there. That'll be the next chance we get to derail these banksters. It won't be any time that we're all alive. Anyway, it's here nor there. Like I said, they got away with it. Welcome to the 21st century. We are all slaves to the banksters. Actually, and it's interesting, somebody posted in the lounge here just a minute ago, and here's a really good anecdotal piece of evidence to support that kind of idea. It turns out now the World Economic Forum has now turned itself into the World Government Summit? What the hell? The New World Order is a conspiracy theory which hypothesizes a secret emerging totalitarian world government. Are we ready for a new world order? World Government Summit. Jesus Christ. So they're already starting to put it in place. So, anyway, like I said, we probably won't have a chance to derail this again until probably the latter part of this century. It'll be a while. Okay, so just going through your questions. Hopefully that kind of spoke to them. I don't know whether we don't really have any specific coins you guys are asking for, and I can kind of understand why, because the crypto market's kind of on its heels right now. All right, here for the controversial Brian. Thank you, Hanya. Fair enough, though that chart is pre-Ukraine war, pre-cutting off Russia from the energy economy. Well, I would actually say there's probably your Russian influence in the market. Even though, and you know, the interesting thing is that Russia is kind of, they're trying to disconnect themselves from the U.S. hegemony system. So it might be interesting to get like an energy price in rubles, what the Chinese are paying. My hunch, though, is that I would imagine that Russia's basically almost giving the energy away to China to encourage them to take the chance of pissing off the West. So, and then, you know, if we look at the crude price, the interesting thing about this chart is you can clearly see, and you know, what do we say when we ever see the market smiling at us? So I do believe that this push higher here is, I don't know, I think it's done. Also, too, I thought it was interesting, if I'm not mistaken, I think the Eurozone came out and explicitly said, by this date here, you are not allowed to sell internal combustion engine cars in Europe anymore. So, in an interesting way, you might just find that that energy price actually works its way down into that event. So, you know, I would just let the market speak, and there's a big fat M staring you in the face, and I would respect that. Okay. tons of. I mean, the interesting thing is if you look back on human history, I don't like. Great here says the growth of the nation, therefore, and all of our activities are in the hands of a few men. We have come to be one of the worst ruled, one of the most completely controlled. Woodrow Wilson says, I am a most unhappy man. Yeah, I know. And really, ironically enough, on his deathbed, he only then realized what a doofus he was. So go figure. But it's really sad. I mean, you can really see, as of literally the date that the central bank was put in place in the United States, all the wheels in motion to basically unravel the power of the nation of the United States were put in place. And now basically the United States is a bankrupt country. All of these Western nations are all bankrupt, and they're entirely dependent on the banksters. And you just saw what happened out of Great Britain. So if anybody does not do exactly what they are told by the banksters, then what you just saw happen in Great Britain will happen to your country. Right? It's just that simple. So. And, you know, the irony of it all is that when I was in the UK hanging out with Stoned Ape, he and I were joking, well, half joking, half, oh my God, what are they doing to us? We pulled up the UK inflation rate. And when we did this, it was around 8 or 9, I guess 9 and change. And we did Foggenbaums and 1.618s. And I think it's pretty much a foregone conclusion. UK inflation is probably going up to about 13-14% in here. And lo and behold, today we've got announcement. Now we're at 11.1. So we've crossed the 127 here. Next objective should be about 12.5. But my hunch is this thing doesn't stall out until we get up to 14. So it's kind of funny to watch how this all play itself out. Funny and tragic all in the same time. One thing I will say to all of you is, for fuck's sakes, respect these goddamn Jupiter-Saturn crosses. Because literally, that was the catalyst. The market was just waiting for that to happen. And then all of a sudden, just out of nowhere, interest rates pivoted like a rock. And I even remember when we were going through the shit there in the U.S. market a couple years ago, I even remember, and I think it slipped out, that Powell was just like, just get us into year end, just get us into year end, just get us into year end. Because he knew that as soon as this Jupiter-Saturn cross, the year end event happened, that interest rates were going to start normalizing. It's almost like he knew it was coming. They always say, famous JP Morgan quote, and that's what this thing is. I couldn't believe a guy actually goes, squiggly lines, they're garbage. This is the one chart, actually, I think that I published that's actually of some value. Where the hell is it? Thought I had it on here. Anyway, the Saturn cross. Saturn Pluto. Anyway, it's one of these. Let's see what we got here. Oops. Not that one. Saturn. Yeah, this one. Millionaires don't use astrology. Billionaires do. JP Morgan. So should you guys respect astrology? I was actually really impressed. Paul actually made reference to one of Julian's expressions, greedy goblins. And Julian's actually become much more respectful of astrological events now in the market. And I was pretty impressed when I saw the other day he was pointing, well, we're probably going to be pretty stressed here, but we got to wait for this the moon eclipse cycle to finish and stuff. And it was like, cool, we actually sold him on the significance of astrology. Anyway. What's Frogsy saying there? What's funny is the World Government Summit began the morning after the Will Smith slap, which was plastered all over the media the very day the summit began. I guess probably to try and to change the topic of conversation, eh? Not a peep in the MSM about the summit that week. Yeah. Vote of the majority, but a government by the opinion and duress of a small group of dominant men. Yeah. And Great Delmidi, I suppose we'll finish off here. It's past the top of the hour. We probably should check in with the boys and see how their predictions went this past week and get our new predictions. But Great Delmidi says, Jim Cramer says SBF is the new JP Morgan. Not. All right. Okay, so gentlemen, let's see how we did. And surprisingly enough, Paul actually gave us an uber bullish vote last week. That's shocking.
Not so surprisingly.
Looks like the Beamish actually, did we update this? Is today the 16th? It is.
Yeah.
Look at that. Son of a gun. Hey, look at that. The Beamish actually was right. Oh, imagine that. All right. Paul was looking for a little bit down. I mean, 3.5%. That's not really that much, eh? So pretty close. I mean, I beg your pardon. Paul was uber bullish. Ben was looking for a little bit down. So, way to go, Beamish. You're awesome. All right, gentlemen. Do we want to make any grand predictions of what the hell's going to happen this coming week? Paul says we go up.
Exactly. Below 20K, I'll be bullish.
20K.
Until I'll be right.
All right. Man, I tell you, that's a damn ugly looking chart, eh? God damn. Jeez, that's evil. You know, I was doing a video on Saturday, and somebody was like, would you quit with the rhetoric and just get on with the price charts? And I went, well, what the fuck is there to talk to you about? This thing looks like a train wreck. So, actually, I had a bunch of ABCDs, but I think this ABCD is the big one, and it's got to be hit before we even think about this being done. So that's there to there, and there to there, and then we will draw a horizontal line right there. And I've told you guys this in the past. I'm sure if we went back and looked at these charts over time, you'd see that I really like this little window right in here. There to there to there. Notice how that's right in that ABCD objective. So the ABCD itself is right around 12 Gs. And this low here is 98.50, 98.25. And I kind of like this thinking too. I mean, you might get some crazy ass tail that goes down below there. But I do like this idea because there's a lot of, you know, sort of the kids that just, you know, they bark out these predictions like, follow me and all that kind of crap. They said Bitcoin will never trade below $10,000 ever again. So just the simple fact that that low there, which probably should be tested, is like 9,800. Unfortunately, it leads me to believe a 98.25 there. Yeah, so 98.25. So that leads me to believe that, yeah, we do have to go down and trade below that 10,000 for a bit. So some sort of final capitulation dump would be nice. Just get it over with. And then also, too, previous cycle, this dump right here, November 18th, November 12th, November 19th. We ultimately bottomed here December 10th. Well, here we are, exact same part of the cycle. So, I don't know. I mean, what do you say? Paul says, though, +2, which means, what does +2 mean? Does that mean like, where's a +2? That's greater than 5% rally?
Yep.
All right. And is that your vote again this week?
Yep.
Okay. Ben, what do you think we're going to do here?
I would love to see it just go down and be done with.
Straight up from here, eh?
Yeah, but I think I don't know, maybe a 1.
A 1. All right, well, a little bit uppy then.
Yeah.
All right, so Paul, and interesting when you look at it from like a weekly chart, 5% doesn't really look like that much. I tell you, I am scratching my head here about the breadth indicator. That scares me for my shorts. Anyway, there's Paul. Paul thinks we're going to be above, I don't know, it doesn't even have a number here. 17,260, so something like that. Did you say a +1 or a -1?
I was gonna say a +1.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe even a +2. I don't know,
Oh,
somewhere
really?
in
You're feeling that bullish, eh?
just a short
Okay. Wow, that's
short squeeze.
interesting. All right. So both of you guys are uber bull, and I can't really change my opinion because my setup still says that I'm supposed to be short right now. So, if I just quickly boo at the chart. Oh, nice. All right. Well, I'm starting to work away now. I don't know whether I can put... You know what? Great Del Moody. This is something you need to work on. Have you ever seen, and does anybody know the name of this? But there's... I can't think of the name off the top of my head. I've heard it before. I just can't remember it. But something like sine wave analysis, right? If we... maybe we'll go down to like a 4-hour chart or something. All right, very messy. Well, keep it simple. There we go. Okay, so peak, trough, trough. Not bad. Peak, trough, peak. Where's our next meeting? 23rd. 23rd. Oh, way over here. Oh my goodness. That's forever away. Okay, so somewhere around there, right? Right there. Oh, interesting. Into a trough. Oh boy, that's too many cycles. But what I wanted to ask you was, what is this effect, and how do we connect this effect?
And after rescuing
This guy's so smart. I love listening to him. He's a super smart dude. So, what is the name of this effect? And notice how, like in space, if you spin a screw, it'll go around a few times, and all of a sudden it'll pivot on its axis and it'll turn right around, and it'll keep spinning, same speed, same velocity, all that. But it just flips. It just completely flips around. Because I noticed this in the market, and if you want to work on your little user's manual of how to kill the market, I noticed that this happens in the stock market. I have no idea how to explain this. But you notice, right? We'll go like trough, peak, trough, peak. Then all of a sudden, like it'll be working all along perfectly, and then all of a sudden it flips right around. And literally price will peak when there should be a trough, and it'll trough when it should peak. You've probably seen me talk about this before. It's quite stunning when you see it happen in real time. So maybe peak, trough, peak. Well, wait a minute, we just troughed. Trough, looks like we're peaking. Then trough, wait a minute, that looks like a trough, that's a peak. Then now we're completely opposite. Trough, peaking. But then it goes back. Notice, through this window, this is the screw turning around in direction and getting back on course. Now, trough, trough, peak, peak, trough, trough, peak, peak. And it's weird how it does this. It's a helicistical effect. I'm sure I completely butchered that. It's resonance shifting. Okay, so but the point is that I've been doing this so often in the market, I do see it happen to prices of assets. Does exactly the same thing. And my question for you is is there a specific sort of number of turns, number of cycles that we should be expecting? And then after that specific number, is it 3.14? Is it something to do with Foggenbaum? But what is it, and how can we use this in trading to predict when this pivot needs to happen next? And you actually have the market sort of disconnect from that very predictable sine wave. So that's my question for everybody who's watching this, anybody who's a mathematician. How do you predict when the sine wave disconnects and it starts moving in opposites like this? And then, for some reason, at some point it goes back to actually obeying the sine wave again. It's remarkable. I see it happen all the time. So anyway, there's food for thought for you, something to pick your brain. As for grand predictions, looking for a trough, I'd probably want to go on a bigger time frame to try and see this cycle a little better. Let's see, maybe if we can see something off of here. If we go, unfortunately, I got all this writing on the chart too. Maybe if I do a different one, let's go over here. Let's go daily. And maybe we'll go something like that and like that. So again, sort of trough, peak, trough. Whoa, trough, peak, trough. Okay, it's back on course. Our next date of meeting. This looks like it's too soon. Looks to me interesting how we're going through a massive trough here in the sine wave, and we should actually push up here. Again, is that sort of part of the TRI breadth? Is the breadth, somehow cluing into the universe? I don't know. I can't get anything here. I'm not seeing anything. So I guess we'll just take a blind guess. And I will say, our meeting is here. It's on a down note. So I think we're going to be down, lower. So what is that? That's 16. Geez, I think we could lose a good $1,000 here. So that's, what is that? It's about 8% or so. Does that mean I have to do a -2? I'll be conservative. I'm just going to go -1. So for whatever it's worth. I'll do exact opposite. I don't know whether we get another big puke out here. Well, you know what? No, I'm just going to stick with my guns. We'll go -2. Especially since the fact that you two are so bullish. All right, so Brian's going to take the exact opposite trade. All right. Neck is in the noose. Only time will tell. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed that. Any closing thoughts for these good people, Paul?
Same idea.
Same idea.
Risk less, respect your plan and your setups. If you are a day trader, maximum 1% per trade. And try to learn more in this bear market. Now is the time to really accumulate a lot of knowledge.
Mm-hmm. Like that. I mean, you can always count your mountains of dollar bills down the road. I don't think there's mountains of money to count today. But mountains of information, that's probably the best way to describe it. Oh, I wanted to mention before we leave, you had a spreadsheet that you said a friend of yours put together and you guys are working with on your group. Maybe next week you could show the good people what it is you're working on, and maybe that might interest a few people to come over to your site and see if they can get access to that.
That one is it's free for any TRIer to use.
Cool.
But
so maybe we'll get like a little sort of tutorial from you on it next week. Is that cool?
Yeah, I could do a tutorial, but you already have a link, a tutorial for that, how to use that one. So
okay,
it's free for any TRIer to use.
Right, I'm thinking for this free Wednesday show that might be.
I could do that. Yeah.
Or we can just anyway, just maybe consider doing like a little preview or something next week, and then if somebody is interested, they can get in touch with you. How they can get a copy of it, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that way it drives some traffic because it looks like you guys are putting in a lot of time and effort into those documents. So.
Yeah, not me personally, but some guys from the group.
All right, cool.
And tier
Mr.
hires, one is level 3 and one is level 1. So
Okay,
they are also tier hires.
okay, cool.
So
Hey,
they
one.
decided to share it for free on tier hire.
Okay, well, maybe what we could do is have them come in the daily brief. Maybe either of you two guys, if you're watching this and you know what I'm referring to, just maybe PM me and we'll see if we can slide you in on a slot in a daily brief day and you can sort of describe what it is you guys put together and how people
Yeah.
can get in touch with you to use it if it perks their interest. All right. Mr. Benerator, any thoughts from you heading out here today?
Just thinking of you and Liam tomorrow.
Oh, you're
Hope you
awesome.
have a great day.
I always love how Ben reminds me of, and I have to say, Liam's in pretty good spirits. He likes his car rides, so he's getting lots of car rides.
Nice. That's awesome. So everybody listening, think of Brian and Liam tomorrow and send some positive thoughts their way.
Thank you.
And yeah, stay careful out there. I guess it's coming into a part of the season where people start abandoning projects and might start to see some delistings on exchanges of certain coins. So just be careful.
Yeah.
That was something I got caught up with in the last cycle.
Yeah, well, I hope
Yeah.
nobody's on Shitterex anymore. God, that was a
Yeah.
nightmare. Jesus.
Have your sell halves on double orders working?
Well, it's always a good idea. The question is how you're going to do it. And now, from what I understand, like places like Three Commas, where people used to really like to work a lot of open orders on APIs and stuff, now somebody's gone and hijacked that place, and now it's a potion for disaster. I'll tell you, the powers that be sure don't make it easy in unregulated venture cap spaces to run small businesses of trading. I'll tell you that much, by crackers.
That's the yeah.
I did see that, Paul, you're still pretty active on Binance, right? And CZ, if anything, I'm a little worried CZ is getting so big, he's going to be, either he's going to be in monopoly in the space. I don't know whether that's
I don't think
good.
so. I don't think so. I don't think he'll be so big. Already they try to blame him for the EFTX drawdown.
Yeah. Well, and
So
that's the thing, right? Is I'm sure. Anyway, fingers crossed. Binance stays whole here. They're
yeah,
about the
I hope
last
so.
domino to fall, eh?
I have partially my trading account on their platform,
Yeah. So anyway,
but
caveat
most of my
emptor,
funds are
everybody.
on the ledger. So
That's good. Okay, so everybody's gonna have a nice little karmic best wishes for Brian and Liam tomorrow. Thank you very much. Appreciate that ahead of time. Great conversation as always, gentlemen. I probably talked way too much, but Brian, he loves the sound of his own voice. PMA for the win. Slow and steady wins the race. If you can, get yourself all ready. We are now finally at the bottom end of the range. So that means if you actually want to invest in this stuff, it's actually now the investment window is actually started to open back up again. So now's the time to do your due diligence, and kind of like what Paul said there. If you don't know what you're doing, you don't have a plan in place, for God's sakes, take the time and get this crap done now. And get in there and paper trades and just keep trading. Take every bloody setup possible. Log, diarize, journal. How are you feeling? Is this stuff making any sense? Do you see W's? Do you see M's? Do you see divergences? Do you see volume profile levels? Do you see gaps? It goes on and on and on. Point here is now is the time to really get this stuff all licked. And so that when the next bull does come, and it should start forming in about the next 6-8 months, well, we got a couple people here. Of course, Great Del Moody. Probably pick his brain if you're his friend as to ideas that probably have legs going forward. I know Mr. RT here, if that is who I think it is. He's always been a fan of that Vader. I don't know. I was thinking of you the other day. Should I go and buy some more of this Vader? Are you guys still all jazzed about it over in your neck of the woods? I know this is probably a total... and how do you spell that? Is it V-A? These guys? I don't know whether this Vader is still... I remember, that May 4th, May the 4th be with you. I had put out a tweet about this, and I remember somebody said, yeah, it still looks pretty good. So, here, if anything, is a really good example. I can't comment on the FA. But if the FA is still solid, what do you think? If these guys get their act together, is there any room for this damn thing to move up? So, this is probably a good analogy. Now, I can't comment on the FA. I mean, maybe these guys are going out of business. I don't know. But this would be a really interesting one. This kind of reminds me, I bought one coin, and I'm talking still. Why am I still talking? But what the hell? I bought this one coin, Verge, and it was so funny. I bought it at 2 sats. And I don't even know if the chart even goes back that far here. Yeah, so do you see how it's very similar to that Vader? I bought this thing at 2 sats down here, and it went all the way up to like 1900 sats. So this is venture capital, right? And of course, that looks a hell of a lot like that Doge, right? It's pretty simple, straightforward stuff. I think I was long, I can't remember the exact price that my average was, but basically I was loaded up on Doge down in here, and you see it's the same damn thing. So, I don't know. I mean, he's not commenting, so maybe that means he doesn't want to say anything. But, look at that chart. I mean, is there any money to be made on something like that? Gee whiz. So, the next bull market, ironically enough, the seeds for the next bull are being sown. I don't know whether this thing's going to survive the bear, but if it does, holy crap, there is a lot of money to be made on something like this. Okay, I think I'm going to leave the rants at that. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for your support today. Extra long meeting. I have no idea. Well, it's 20 to 9 now. Holy moly. Sorry, everybody. Oh, that's not... I thought that was Colin. That's not Colin? All right. Sorry, dude. Anyway, PMA for the win. Slow and steady wins the race. If anything, maybe I gave you an idea to chew into. I remember Colin, he really did like this Vader. Maybe Colin, if you watch this later on, you're like, yeah, I still like the idea. It's not bad. Maybe you can put a comment or something in there. I tell you, for a guy who likes to speculate in the market, that's a name that actually that's starting to get my interest in earnest. So, okay, I think I'm gonna try and stop talking now. Have yourselves a great night. Thank you very much, Paul. Thank you very much, Ben. PMA for the win. All the best. And the only thing left for Brian to say is, yeah, Brian will do it. What the hell? Bye for now.